The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everybody. Can someone put the hand if they can actually hear me? Fantastic. Thank you. I have to apologize. In fact, you probably would have received an email if you have a look that I actually cancelled this particular broadcast for some strange reason. The software, the GoToWebinar software just wasn't working. Literally, for the past about 40 minutes, I've been trying to get it going, and I just re-downloaded, reinstalled it, and just managed to get it working. So I apologize for that, but what I will do is I will run the webinar for those that are still on there, and it looks like I've lost more than half of you because of that email that went out that I cancelled it. It's only just by sheer luck that I decided to try it out just now. And it actually worked just shortly after I downloaded the software. So we'll get going, and hopefully we'll do all the stocks, and I'll put another email out to let everybody know they can watch basically tonight or tomorrow of the basically analysis of what we're going to do now. So as you can see at the moment, because of it, there's no disclaimer. So I have to point out, this is only general investment advice, not personal advice. Okay, so please keep that in mind. I do not know your personal circumstance. I don't want to know your personal circumstance. So anything we do is just general investment advice. And I'll repeat that through that because I don't have the disclaimer up. Okay, now let's get on with it. And just double checking because everything is freshly installed. So I want to make sure it's recording, and yep, everything's recording and so forth. So here we go. First one, we'll do the Dow Jones as usual. Let's go to the monthly. Now, again, really, as you can see, this doesn't change much. I mean, we're still on this humongous rising wedge. It's in a very tight range, even though it looks, you know, the move's not as large, but we can see from there, you know, close to 18,000+ points down to trading at 15,000+ points. So it's got quite a sizable, but there's nothing we can actually add to this monthly chart. So we'll go to the weekly and see how we go from there. As we can see from the weekly, we had a potential bearish flag, and we said it really has got to close down here by the end of the week in order to say, you know what, this is really on the way down. As you can see, did an about face, and pretty much these become obsolete at the moment. So we'll just need to remove them. Okay, so as this stands, this particular ones are useless too. That's what we are, okay? So all we can add in addition to a line is probably from here, going down to there, and we really can't add anything else to it. This bottom line stands, and it really, as you can see, it's been one hell of just a consolidation. If you were looking at this to trade like you would like a normal stock, if you're trying to do some sort of option, exercise an option or do something, you can see this is a very hard thing to trade. It's not very clean. It's the top 30 stocks. You know, you better probably looking at the 30 stocks rather than the index. And we can see this is in a very large consolidation phase, still from since back here, which is back to, at 2014 October till this day. So there's nothing much more we can really add to that, other than, again, if this continues to go down from here, then we can tighten this triangle, but that's basically it. Going to the daily. Pretty messy stuff, as we can see. It's not something that I would even consider, you know, enjoy trading. You know, I try to keep away from these things. This can probably go from there. Again, trend line, all we can do is go from here, accelerate it down. You can see that's basically the next point of resistance, and the longer one, if we were to look what the longer one is from here, and really that's the next point there. There's nothing really much more to add. What we can probably say, is it near a top? Well, if we sort of do that in here, say the bottom there. In fact, it's probably more conservative there. And we can do a target from what happened there? Didn't quite work out. Just delete that again. We'll do that again. So that was silly again. I'm trying to using the old and the new program. I'm doing it two different ways. Yeah. Basically, that's the target again. That's the resistance point. So there's nothing more you can really add to this at this point. I mean, if you really wanted to, you can sort of daily, but it's only 2 bars, not the clone. It's your 3 bars in there still. And again, as a target, if I'm using the tail, I go to the highest body, to the breakout point, and target again. So there's nothing much more you can really add. We'll go to the S&P. Where are you? Again, same consolidation phases. We're looking at the Dow, as you can see there. There's really nothing much you can really add to it. That just stands as it does. Go to the weekly, and all we're doing here is exactly what we did with the Dow. Just needs a bit of cleaning up. Get rid of that. Same issue there. And back above that, same thing. You can extend this line a little bit, and that's about it. And I'd get rid of this thing now. It's useless because it didn't get there. I might as well clean it up a little bit. That was the old one. And that's all we're looking at, nothing else. Daily, exactly what we're doing before, but let's just clean that up a little bit. It's got an accelerated downtrend at this point, but not much. Again, really what we're saying is the potential is to about this level here. So there's nothing more. Going through this reasonably quick, aren't we? Dow, X, gold. Let me just clean it up so we can see it a little bit too, actually. Originally, we had if this mess tail was going to go down, it was going to plummet. Basically, we would have had a down target, and that's what that potential flag was. Again, when you follow this tail around, it really, as you can see, going down this way, it was pretty tight. In fact, it broke to the upside, and it hit our first target on the upside on the monthly, so that still stands. We go to the weekly. We have, as we can see, multiple targets. It hit that target up. I think we were talking about this. I think it was, in fact, when this broke through, we were actually doing a webinar at the time, if I remember correctly, and we had a target, and sure enough, it met those targets. And I said, once it consolidates at this point, this might become another flag or pennant, and then again, this will further concur to this particular target there. This, as we can see, the way this has worked out, we've had a fallen wedge, which basically represents a reversal. So from our perspective, gold has turned, so it is on the way to the upside. Okay, these targets still stand at this point. On the daily, this is what we did last time. We had target, then another target to there. As you can see, I'll just get my horizontal line from here. As you can see, the target has been met. From our perspective, that's done deal. Let's see if we get an accelerated trend here. That's actually, oh, not quite actually. We cut it. Let me get that again. We actually like that. We can add that thus far. Can it come back down to these levels? Absolutely. But it really's got to go past the previous high there. So before we see the next leg up. So we need to watch it very, very carefully here. There's nothing more you can really add to this right now. But what we're seeing is an overall up price. As you can see from the weekly we did before, it has higher prices to come. The XJO. So gold is higher prices to come. That really conned us, hasn't it? This is the target out of this bearish flag. Even though this is reversed, this still stands. All right, this flag still stands. It hasn't really failed yet. Okay, originally it was a short from up here, but that still stands to where it is. Technically speaking, this line here, it can also belong just there. So touch, touch, and supporting the body here. So basically what we're really saying is we can understand why it's occurred because this is the area of support. Obviously, anyone that's short was hoping it wouldn't support and see it at a low price, but this line still stands because this can still be extended. So there it is there. Okay, so if it goes past this point, then it really has failed altogether. So that still stands as it is. In addition, still basically like so also on a downtrend. We'll go and have a look at weekly. That's where that line that we originally put. You can see it came back in the main trend line, but you can see where the brick wall was right there going across the down line. Okay. I would, based on this one has obviously failed altogether. And I would get rid of this now, it makes no sense. Just have a look at this for a moment. It is a broadening formation, but is there any support on an angle? Well, it's interesting. We will treat this, if this bounces off this and back down to here, if it actually comes and retested, it could be just a good support, but if it breaks below and stays below it, then that becomes its resistance. But that's still in a broadening formation, okay? So you can expect quite a large oscillation back downwards. So we are at the top, which is major resistance. It's not something I'd be confident for this to continue to the upside. Remember, they actually had broken through the major downtrend. Just squash it all up to have a better look. So, not the cleanest, I have to say either, just here at this point. So really, the real valid is this broadening formation. On the daily, again, that broadening formation, that's where it stopped. We should clean this up a little bit. This is not valid anymore. Oops. To get the rubber. The only thing here also was the same thing we had there, but it is in major resistance at the moment, so I wouldn't be too confident for this to go through at this point because this is on a major stop. It's on the daily and it's on the weekly also. That's the exchange. Now, I've got the stocks. I've also got I've been asked to do the US dollar index and a few other currencies. Aussie, Euro and GBP we'll have a look at. I'll try to do those down to intraday data also. However, we'll start off with the shares, and we'll look at ANZ first. Now this is really interesting, isn't it? As we can still see the rising wedge, it's all valid. We can, we're on the trend line there, we can basically, it'll look better on the weekly of course, but primarily it's not really respecting. It broke through and it's back above. Hard to say exactly how we should treat this one here. The truth is also, the way we can look at it is this way. Let me show you. I just want to shorten that line. And what I want to do, because you're sort of saying, well, why isn't it clean there? Well, we never really know 100%, but what we might find, it actually is like that. And it's now retesting that. So we used it from the bottom, and it pretty much almost touches the body there, cuts those tails, but it holds these tails, cuts across. Now, if this comes up to around this level and then comes back down, basically then that respected that, and this is where the line really begins. All right, it actually belongs. So if this comes to this point just a little bit higher, or even just about where it is, and then creates a new low, basically that represents that this is where the line really belongs, not where it was. We took it to extremes, but it can belong at this point also. In fact, I can just do it a little bit more. So what I've done now is this. We've got the touch here. We've got the touch underneath this low. It's touching these tails, and now it's coming back for a retest. Okay, so that is still valid based on that line there. Let's have a look at the weekly. On the weekly, it's pretty good, isn't it? Right on the brick wall. Okay, so that's its resistance. You know, if I was a betting man, I'd be getting ready to basically take some put options, or go short on this thing here. Because realistically, this is telling us it should really go lower. This is a broadening formation. This target obviously is not valid because this price was based off this flag, and this has gone past it. So this is useless at the moment. Okay, that's useless. Yeah. There's nothing more we can really add to this at this stage. On the daily, it worked out well with these flags, hit the targets. All we can really, if you were trading it, basically this is what you should have been looking at. Okay, so we can do a target out of that. And you can also go one more step to here. As long as there's no brick wall suggesting it'll stop before that. Where are we here? Okay, and that's going touch, touch, and then continuing straight through. It can go a bit lower. You can see you can go down to the body here, just a touch lower. That's about it. Okay, so this is suggesting it should go a bit higher. Next one is Commonwealth Bank. this is still valid at this point. Okay, we can see from here it is also like so. It needs to be a touch lower actually. This other one that was going across is not valid anymore. Okay, we really can't do any more than that. Now, if it actually comes back down, I've got a target of around $54, $52. That target is based on it's going to break below this line. If it doesn't break below this line and closes below this line, then it is not valid. Now, let me just get a closer look at that. Oh, wrong one. Damn. I'll do it. I'll put it back in a sec. Get rid of this for a minute. Just to clean it up a little bit, that's all. Okay, like so. And the target again is really from here, directly below, and estimate a breakpoint. And it's back down there again, okay? So that's still valid at this point. There's nothing to say that is not correct. Okay. On the weekly, we can see that broke below. This is, was that part of the main trend actually? We'll just double check that. No, it's not part of it, or is it? No, it's just from here. Probably more. So that can be here also. In fact, it was originally not very nice. So not very good actually. In fact, that's not very good at all. You can put it there as a retest for that, but that's about it. Not the best for it, I have to say. Again, it's got to go well and truly below. This can belong here. It can actually belong just there. Probably will belong there, right across there, because it tried to go low and it didn't. And that consolidated there and on that line across. So it's probably more valid that it is here. Like so. That's where we belong. And again, we can treat that as a head and shoulder. Look, there's shoulder, head, shoulder. We had a different one before. We had shoulder, head, shoulder the other way. That target was met. Now we're looking at a bigger one, which represents the target down as low as that, realistically. This line is more just saying, you know, it's not the best because really that's where it should come from there. It's more like touch, retest. Yeah, we'll treat it as support and resistance. That's about the extent of it. Okay, so that's on the weekly. On the daily, see, this is suggesting higher prices to come. Okay. Just remember where, I should have cloned it to make it better. Okay, looks like a flag. How good is it? We'll soon find out. Up to $83. Can it go there? Is there brick walls there? Look, if we take the line, originally we had across this way, that broke above. That line actually now belongs there. It'll be pretty good if it goes there, wouldn't it? Gives people an opportunity to, if they haven't gotten out, to get out at one more time. Those that haven't been short maybe should consider that. So, interesting time. Is there any other brick wall in between this is what we have to ask ourselves, and let's have a look. Remind us of it. If we have a look on the weekly, there, this line here, touch, it's there. Now, it's not a very strong line, all right, because this line, as I said, ideally, ideally was up here somewhere and failed. Okay, that's where, then you put it there, in between there, not the best. It's a sandwich. Then as it moved down, like I said before, I'll just grab it again. As it moved down, before it was here, and now we put it there only because it seems to represent there. But ideally, there's not a lot of strength. So if this decides to go up higher, absolutely not a problem. Okay, not a problem at all. So there's the target, but remember where the brick walls are. You've got to see it trying to get through, and that's why that's struggling there at that point. Next one's National Australia Bank. Again, we've got this line here, but the truth is, it can belong there quite comfortably also. So we're seeing this retest of this line. Is it going to go up higher? I don't know. Just keep in this mind, this is still a rising wedge. Okay, it has broken below. And a target out of a rising wedge is from here to here to its breakout point, which is there. But really, this should go down as low as $17. Can it go lower if it gets there? Absolutely, but we will start looking at confirming patterns. We don't have that as yet. If we look at any major trend lines where this belongs, this is the 1987 crash, and let's treat that as a base of some form. And we can go probably from here. Okay, now you know why it stopped there, don't you? It's on a major trend line. Can it hold it? I don't know. That's the truth. But you can see this is from the 1987 bottom, consolidated bottom, to where it is right now. And we can treat that as a touch. This is pretty close to a touch. That's 2, that's 3, and there's your 4th and bounced. So it's pretty good. Can it go down from there? Absolutely. So watch it carefully, because if it does, you've got much lower prices to come. Okay, that was NAB. And next one we'll do is WBC. Again, rising wedge. Look, this is again a 93 low. Touch. Okay, it's respecting that. Technically speaking, look, we went to the low, but this can also go there. It's still just as good, okay? And therefore you got 1, pretty close to 2, 3, 4, 5 touches, okay? Good solid line. In addition, it's obviously narrowing, but that's not very clean. I think the best one we got is where it is there. Off this rising wedge, it can go as low as that. If it breaks through this major support area, then we start looking at this. So really be careful here. If you're holding that stock, if this breaks below, you really are looking at a bloodbath. Again, this is what we had as a head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulder, neckline. I'll just refinesse it a little bit just there. And you can see it bounced right off the neckline. Originally we had a head and shoulder here, which didn't quite work out because it actually went below and back above. But again, it's also a broadening, a horn. That's a very big horn there. We can also use this here to say, you know what, That's where the next brick wall is if it continues to go up. This one's not needed anymore. It's already past that, I guess. Okay, and I'll get rid of that. So everything else is still valid. What we can also add is, actually I'll use the same line. I'll just take it from here. Still active at that area there. So it's quite interesting. See what happens by the end of tomorrow. Interesting times. Daily. Okay. This was not required at the bottom. And start from here. Okay, now I took it from the close because that's the opening price and the close is up there, right across. So we can see it's a down consolidation phase still, so it's really not the best. That's what that's looking like. So it's, you can see it's in between there. We'll leave it as it is and see if it makes a nice little mess in here, which is most likely that it will. You can't add any more than that. Okay, one more bank we got to do, then we get into some of your BHP and your Rios and that. Macquarie. Oh, look, just touched the target there, didn't it? That target still stands, well, even though you hit it, but that still stands. There's no more to go there. That's all I got price-wise. And that's the long trend line. Going to the weekly. You can see that's where it come down to that price, which hit the monthly. Interesting. What is it doing now is the question. Okay. If this actually does break through, obviously you've got to look at support there, but if it goes through that, you got one heck of a, it'll take all this out. If it breaks below that, you'll be learning from here. Well, down to the $50.49. Just reconfirms all that. Okay. That's on the weekly. On the daily, can it go higher is the question. Can it go higher? We really can't add any more than that. Clone it. That's what it's doing. It's a little channel, but obviously turn that into weekly and it's a bearish flag. And you really can't do any more than that. So obviously from a trading perspective, if that breaks to the downside from here on the daily, at least you can go down. You'd be looking between there and there. If it's going to stop, if it goes right through, then you're really looking at a nice down move. So it's either way, it looks pretty good for a quick trade. Okay, BHP. So what it's done with this little rally it had. I still stand with this target, by the way. I reckon that's where it's going, down to around $12, $13. What could it now? This is still messy to actually do anything with. You know, it's too hard to tell yet. You know, is it going to be some sort of flag that way or a pennant? You know, I'll draw that and leave that there for now. But if it is, you've got much lower price to come. Let's see how this pans out here to start off with on the monthly. Let's go to the weekly. Now, we originally, you know, wasn't a very clean flag to do. Okay, so we did it roughly where the majority of the candles are, but let's re-look at it. In addition, we will add that down to there because that's supposed to be major resistance. Clone. Okay, so let's see what it does. See if that's what it belongs to. No. Doesn't belong there. You really can't draw any more than that on it, I'd say. Just curious, want to try to have a look at this for a minute. No, it will not. Nope. Letting the imagination run wild there a little bit. You can't really add any more on the weekly, unfortunately. I think we need to watch this very carefully, what it's going to do here. Is it going to continue hit a brick wall there? Or is it going to consolidate here and then break to the downside? On the daily, actually, we can clean it a little bit. Nope. Let's see if that actually holds there. What it is, it's a sandwich. It's a pretty clean sandwich. There's support here, resistance there, and hopefully resistance there. Ideally, you really wanted something to support it further down here. So it's not a very strong resistance other than because it's just at this point here and there's a gap between it. So if we try to put it on the body there, say it's between the two candles. And let's see if it supports that. So it prevents it going higher. And that's about it. You can't really add any more on that one. Rio. Again, out of this pattern, all these targets still stand. For all we know, it could be a bearish flag here. So really time will tell. Clone that. Could be that. We don't know yet. Can we squash it anymore? That's the maximum data I got. So isn't that interesting also? Major trend line. as that. So taking the bodies, almost a good touch there, pretty close to it, touching right on that and kicking off that. So I reckon that's pretty good. So it's on major support, major support. If that breaks below that, obviously if this breaks below, it'll be another support area. If it breaks below this point, then all hell will break loose. We've got much lower prices, we'll definitely see those. Now, if I remember correctly, we took a copy of this and just put it below that. Yep. So it's just a parallel line of that, which said that's the channel going down. We duplicated that channel, and what we've seen is it pretty much said, yep, I'm going to stop here, and that's what it's done. That's pretty good. So that was this technically brick wall. That's why we didn't get any lower prices off that at this point, off that flag. So can we add more than that? No, we can just extend this a little bit. Okay, and that's this brick wall again there, isn't it? Well, certainly hit the target. Although this failed here on it. And let's clone. As a channel, sort of marries together fine. And yeah, it might keep going, but again, these are the brick walls. What I honestly see here, everything that we've looked at so far, all it's doing is marking time right now, trying to find out where it's going next. You really want to confirm some decent direction when it happens, and you have to be pretty quick to act. I personally would like to see a bit more upside before a downturn begins. If we get that, at least it makes things worthwhile. So if we can actually get a bit more consolidation to the up, creates a bit more positive room, things get better priced and better returns if you get it right. Okay, what we'll do now, we'll do NCM. Obviously, this should follow gold, shouldn't it? Well, we shouldn't be really surprised. As we said, we had a gold target. It hit the target. At the same time, this hit the top resistance point. So it still stands. I guess that's what I'm saying. It still stands. Okay. So we're at the top there. So would I be holding it on the long side at the moment? Probably not, based on this chart. But let's have a look at the weekly if it gives us extra confidence on something. Now, the thing is, this can belong there, it can belong a bit higher. Now, if we put it there, what we've done is we cut the wick, so we went on the bodies. If we went higher, you can see it's up there, it's below it. Now, this could be making a bullish flag. We don't know yet. And then it breaks above it, and what is resistance becomes support. If that happens, we know the gold run is really on. Although we do believe he had a falling wedge, which basically means that downturn for gold is over. But it does not necessarily mean the up move is continuous non-stop without any problems. It can still consolidate for a while before it makes a move. And this is what these lines are saying. This is not a continuous uptrend non-stop. It's trading within ranges, even though it's edging up. Okay, if you can go past these top lines comfortably, you know, like I've got it to my extremes, like top to top, and you can see it struggled there, so that validates it. If this can go above and we can get a target, then we know the real run of, you know, gold is on the way, because this is the only reason this stock would be going up. So it is close. I don't think we're quite there yet. Again, it's like going up the top to that line. Okay, just touching that line here, and that's the up. And you can see it stayed one day, then back below, but it's almost like a reversal, an island reversal. So this is where all the data belongs, not up there. Technically, again, it can belong right there, or we can hug it a bit. Let's just hug it a bit. So that's where I would be looking at it. In anything that we do, we should let it show us the way before we commit with our funds in a very big way. Okay, West Farmers. No, West Farmers. Let's do MFG next. MFG. Haven't looked at this for a while. Well, I think as the chart shows, we looked at this a little while ago by the looks of it. We can see we had major support. I said as long as it maintains it, fantastic. It struggled to break above that. It has broken below it and the next and closed below it on the monthly. That is not good. Okay, that is not good. If this month doesn't get past here and stays below or turns into a red candle, basically we're at the tops with this. I'd like to know what it actually does. I can't remember what the stock does. MFG. Why do I know? Mega Latin Fin Group. Now, looking at the weekly. Now, let's just squeeze it up a bit more. Okay, that's pretty good. That goes further down from the bottom, does it? Let's have a look. Okay, no, that's the bottom. Okay, that's the bottom. Cuts through that. Technically, look, initially, as you can see, that's where it was, like that. And we can realign this a little bit. Okay. As we can see, that was where it is, and that's where it broke away and failed. Now, technically, we can go, where's that one up there? We can actually even then put it there. It still fits. You can see here, support, then broke, support. Now it's testing that in here. It is valid, but it's not the best, okay? It's not the best. If we just expand it so we can see it a little bit better, what we can do also is take this, put it there, take that, and put it there. Well, let's have a look at it again for a sec. Oh yeah, it's the bar there. Just have another closer look. That's still valid. And let's have a look at the client. No, it doesn't clone well, which is good. And restore. Okay, so basically we can see why that's doing it here. Can it also be a potential pennant? Now, if that follows through and comes down, or let's say it takes its time for another couple of months and goes this way, what we have then, a shoulder, a head, another shoulder. Either way, this is telling us we're probably heading for a reversal. That's where it's showing us. Because if we compare this, what it's doing, to what it did here on the monthly, we can see we draw the line from here, we sandwiched it all in. It actually has broken below. Excuse me. It has broken below. So if you can spend a couple of months here making another shoulder, then we have a major top. All right, we have a rising wedge. They're still treated as a rising wedge. Okay, because you've got top, top, top. From underneath, this is a sandwich, which is major support. It's just like a trend line. And that becomes a full reversal also. Now, I don't know what MFG means, but I'm making a note. I want to know what they do. I haven't looked at this for such a long, I just cannot recollect at the moment. I think I even asked the question once before, and I probably got the answer, I just cannot remember. Okay, now looking at the daily, we originally had this and we did a target. Well and truly worked out, that's nice. Yeah, we can cut one candle because that's the opening price, this is the closing, and that was an engulfing in fact. So look, you can draw that line there. It doesn't really give us much, but still. This might be, like I said, a consolidation phase. And either it could be, as we said on the weekly, could be a pennant that becomes into a bearish pennant there, breaks down to here, kicks off, and actually creates an arm, or it just breaks through altogether. So interesting, like I said, interesting to see, because if this thing shorts, if it does go down the downside, it's got an amazing down potential. Amazing down potential, because basically you'll be major support line is here, major downside down to these levels, which is enormous. Okay. West Farmers, WES. I really do hate trading this stock, by the way. It's doing nothing, so messy from a trade's perspective. Look, there's your consolidation phase. It's still there, big sideways. The only time I would even consider this is if it breaks below here or above there and closes above or below that, and then you can target. But there's nothing else you can do with it. If we squash it up, is this all the data I've got? I just want to double check. Because the main trend obviously goes from the lowest point. And I mean, really, that's where the trend is. So there's nothing else there. There's nothing you can do. It's consolidating. This is directionless. Break above or below, and then we start looking at it again, but there's nothing else there we can do. Again, where is it? basically it. It's total sideways, useless. Daily. Failed target, unfortunately. It's just nothing. Sorry about that. There's nothing I can do with that one. Don't know what to say. Okay, it was West Farmers. Nothing much. Borrel, BLD. Okay, well, we were looking at that as a potential target, as a bearish flag. Has failed as a bearish flag. And all we got is now, by the way, this is still a rising wedge, still valid. And it's, as you can see, it's hugging that all the way up. So we'll have to wait and see till it makes its decision what it's going to do from here. The main trend line is still down here. Nothing much more than that on the monthly. On the weekly, initially basically double top. This is whatever he's doing rocketing up. That's useless. That's no good anymore. Definitely we can put that in as a resistance point, but that's about it, because it's not the clean one. It actually is in between these two candles. If it was just, if that fitted just above or below, then it would have been really, really good, but it's not the cleanest because of it. But it has respected the line at that point there, and we would look to see if it respects it at that point also. Again, as a consolidation, what can this potentially become is we have to be asking ourselves. Okay, now let me just have a look at it at the monthly again. Yeah, okay. At a monthly, if we look at this monthly chart here, potentially this can also become a head and shoulders if it comes back down to this level. We have to be seriously watching it, because potentially we can say, and we see what happens here. That becomes the neckline that way. Again, reversal. Okay, so still be careful here. Not quite set itself up. I guess what we did there is basically there, and we'll see what happens there. And that becomes the neckline. We don't know that yet. If this comes back down, breaks below, we definitely have that. So watch it very, very carefully at the moment. That'll be an interesting. Actually, I'll make a note of that one and have a look at that later a bit more. When I see points of interest, like I am interested to see this in more detail, and I'll probably go and even do a bit of research on the fundamentals. And if I see any points of interest, I will track it in future webinars and bringing it up myself as a potential trade. At the moment, we're not quite sure. It's expanding in this area here, but potentially. I'd like to know what caused this run. Is there something fundamentally? I don't know at this point. I honestly don't know. Oops, wrong one. I meant to use a trend line there. Let's see, that's a resistance point. Not a clean there. We did obviously gone there for a day and recovered the following day. So, or almost recovered the following day. So it's worth just keeping it to see if it comes as future support. Now that's borrow. Okay, next one is TAH. Excuse me, again. Anyone into betting? Okay. This is a falling wedge which represents a reversal. Okay. And as a target, to see if we actually hit any targets, what we've got to do is go from here to there to its breakout point, and that's its target. And if we draw a line, we can see we hit our target already. So basically that called a reversal, and that's what that is. Okay. In fact, we can probably, let's have a look here for a second. I want to see if there's any major support anyway. Oh, what happened there? No, it cuts it too much. Just there. Okay. Trend. Let's see if there's a sandwich here. Not quite. It would be nice if that fitted in there between the two as a tight. Actually, just curious. Just let me have a look at this for a minute. Like that. If that fit it like that. Let's have a look. No. I can't say that at the moment. And what will we do there? Try one more thing. So what we've done is basically it broke through here strongly at the first time while it was resisting here. And now this becomes support. So all we can see is wait and see if it's going to get supported there or it's going to go back down to the lower line. So we can understand at this point why it slowed down there. But let's see if it actually breaks it and goes lower. Usually what we find, they say, is when things go to the shit, pardon my French, but usually you find people gamble more, drink more, smoke more, eat more junk food. So the economy hasn't been the best when it comes to the shares as we're looking at, and usually starts to switch over. And it goes more into people drink, as I said. Those stocks should be going up when things get, the signs, things are getting worse. So Tabcorp's gambling, it's nice to see what Foster's is doing, or those groups, alcoholic companies and tobacco companies. Okay, well, that's it for that weekly. For the monthly, let's have a look at the weekly. Can I have that from here? That's from there. And Hmm. Hmm. Better clean these up a little bit too. They've moved for some strange reason. Anyway, get rid of that. Okay, I'll take it lower. Thought it might have been good from there too, but that's where that is anyway. Interesting little intersection though. Very interesting little intersection. On the daily, there's not much actually at all on the daily. Nothing much at all. I mean, yeah, it's accelerating down, but that's about it. That's it on that one, folks. Interesting what happens if you look at the weekly, what happens at that point, because on the weekly, if that does break, by the way, you've got a nice flag, of course. Oops. It's got to really break, that's the only thing. Like so. In order to take advantage of it, because you already missed that bit to stay in longer if you wanted to. Down to there. $3. $3.50 or so. Okay. That was Tabcorp. DRM. I have no idea. I think I was told what it was. I just forgot. Come on, getting data. As you can see, I've never looked at this before. I have no idea what they do. Doro Minerals. Just, well, I was just checking a few other notes. Thank you for that. MFG Funds Manager. Do you know how much they got under management by any chance? Would be nice. And are the funds mainly in Australia or overseas or combination of both? Would be nice to know. So we have a sort of a channel here. Now, the only reason I'm leaving it there, obviously, is it's basically the height of the green bar. This is all underneath because it went above it and back down. And it appears that it's respecting, just looking at that. So it's not 100% yet. It's not the best yet, but it's not bad to consider right now. Okay, so we can say it's probably at the top end of the channel. Again, if we try to repeat the process here, we can clone. That's way too high now. It's definitely not a channel on the weekly. How about what I would do interestingly enough, I'm going to leave that right in the middle because it is a sandwich, by the way. And I want to see if this falls, is it going to get supported? Because if it does, this is a continuous ongoing trend, okay? It might be slow going, but it's a continuous ongoing trend if it actually continues from that perspective. What we can also say is if we draw a line right across here, like so, you can see where support, try to break, finally broke through. Now, we can target from this, by the way. So, means from here to here to the break point is where it is. That's the first leg. Now, if it manages to break through, and I use the word if it manages to break through, then you have the second leg, which goes from here to there to its same break point, and then it goes to that. But we cannot say definitely that's where it's going to go till he passes that monthly channel. It's got to go past that point. But based on the analysis of the weekly, that's what we're looking at. Now, it's not unreasonable if he does that. It's been at these levels before, okay? On the daily, it's one hell of an accelerated trend, isn't it? Now, realistically, what do we got here? Whichever way you look at it, we can do that as a flag. We can, if you want, do that from here and that way, which is a pennant. Either way, we can still target, will be roughly the same, not too much difference. Bottom of the flag, top of the flag, to its breaking point. And guess what? We're $1.39 to $1.11, $1.39, and the target up here is $1.39. Okay, the upper end. In other words, it was $1.11 to $1.39, so there's your target from that. Okay, out of your daily. And that's off this, okay, going up higher. However, in addition to it, what is it doing now? Is it going to confirm it? We've got to see what it's going to do here, first of all. Okay. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a flag. Still developing. But if it is, I'm going to show you. But if it is, it'll be fantastic. So I'm going to show you as a target, then I'm going to remove it because we're not sure yet. So bottom of the flag, highest body of the flag, and roughly where it's should break out. And guess what? Same spot. Okay. So if that turns out to be a flag or a pennant, you got a confirmation target. So let me remove these now. But I will leave this one. Okay. Clone, we've got here, accelerated trend here. And I really can't, it's too rough, too sharp. I wouldn't. I mean, if I was trading it just as a quick trade, I don't know anything about the business, I might have gotten out if I was in, but that's about it. But there's nothing wrong with it at the moment. In fact, like I said, if anything, we go from, wrong one, from here and take it that way like a sandwich, we can say there'll be support here at this level. We'll leave it there and see how it goes. Okay, SHV. Now I know we started a bit late, so just waiting for data to come through, folks. Whoa, 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 whoa. We said, looking at this last time, that was the reversal as the falling wedge shows the upside into a channel. We broke out of that, but remember, we said potential flag. It'd be nice if it is. It wasn't a flag. It broke below. Now, it's not hard to work out. Did anyone take advantage of this fall? From here to the bottom of the channel, to the breakout of the channel, and there's your target. So if you're trading it, that's what you should have done. So that's just a channel, a simple channel break, nothing else. Okay, and right on the channel. Again, this is the channel that was in. What we do is target from the top to the bottom of the channel to the breakout of the channel, and there's your target. All right. We also had, if you missed it, then you should have seen this flag. Okay, target. That gave you at least that target. We can't really add any more than that. Now you're saying, why is it stopping here? Well, I can only say a sandwich is like so. Oops, I should have went a bit longer. That's where that is, all right? Touch, touch, and pushing that way, sandwich. So we can only say it's consolidation phase. I don't see any more continuation patterns on the weekly, so we'll have to wait and see if there's any others for further downturns. Or is it going to consolidate here? On the daily. So that if it runs up, that might be its major point, and that's the downside. I really can't add anything else to this right now. I don't think so, at least. No, I really. Maybe a channel's still there, but there really is nothing much we can say. No, that's it. MNS. I haven't looked at this before, so bear with us for a little bit. Get the data. That still stands, nothing's changed there. Technically speaking, on this line here, I can actually, it'll actually even fit there. Okay, fits there nicely. So that becomes still support. There was basically a bull hook here, and that's his target of the bull hook. That still stands, nothing changed. It also, on the weekly, I'll actually, let's just finish off the monthly actually first. We can add like so there. So it is a major support intersection here. If it does fail, then really this thing's going to just go free fall down. But there's a lot of strength there, I have to say. Just one sec, make a note here. Okay. Let's just go to the weekly. You can see major resistance there. However, again, as I said, major support also. Oops. Just taking the bottom line here, which is really, really good, and putting across to that one, which is probably a better line than what I had at the top here, which makes it more parallel, which makes it into a parallel channel. Because if this breaks to the downside, we can actually target down off the parallel channel. However, if it breaks to the upside from this point here, at least what we're saying, this is at the bottom of the parallel channel, breaking up there, it's got a reasonable move to the upside. So it's more about preparing what it can happen either way and see if we can take advantage of it. So putting where that is parallel, because it's really good support. We know there's resistance, and we'll see what happens here. We know this line's paralleled with that one. We can still clean up. We can leave that there because that was part of an old target. So in other words, we could have said from here to there to its break point, and that's its target. Okay, so we understand why it stopped. That validates this line, in fact. Okay, and that's all it's doing. So he validates that line, and it's good that it's did that. Now it's just a matter of saying, look, if this is there, and this is a straight line there, and that's there, that's a descending triangle, okay? If we get a descending triangle here and it breaks to the upside, we can target up. If it breaks to the downside, we can target down. Either way, it doesn't matter, okay? So that's how you have to watch it. Daily, the same thing. Well, see if we can line it up from okay. Okay, I'll treat it as that. Just wait and see now. We can just clean it up a little bit, of course, just by removing this stuff from here, because it didn't break. That didn't break, and stop there. That didn't break. Okay, that hit its target. Just to keep it clean now. Okay, that met its target. Okay, that was MNS. And I've got one more before we go to the currencies, and that's SSM. And we've been going for a little while, folks, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 to do after this. That's to do with a US dollar index, the Aussie dollar against the US, Euro, US, and GDP. Okay. Monthly first. As we put across here as a sandwich, it has broken below, above. This is a channel off that, still looking good and positive. Everything's still valid. Going to the weekly, we can see we had a higher target. That pattern still stands. And of course, what we can see here, clone. Okay, another flag. Now, as long as it breaks to the upside, which I don't have any doubts why it shouldn't, you can see it complements it. So looking pretty good. And of course, as we drew with these lines last time, we can finesse them a little bit better now because it is well and truly above. And we can move that. We can say, you know what, put them like that. Now that becomes support. That was resistance, break through, now becomes support. Fantastic. On the daily, basically from here to there to its breakout, it's still saying higher prices to come, okay? Just off the daily. And again, that sandwich supporting it, fantastic. Remember what a sandwich is you go across the tops, and as it breaks through, it becomes support. So this line is sandwiched between the two. It's quite an important line. Now, we're on to the other stuff. US dollar index. Where are we here? DXY. Just getting the data. As I said, what I got to do, I'm on another machine at the moment. Remember, all this is general investment advice. I'm on another machine totally. I only, last week when this machine was rebuilt, I copied all my work from the other machine to this machine. And for some strange reason, this software that I'm using to do these webinars died. I just don't understand why. I have no idea. And the other one, I tried to run the old one, and it says Chrome is not supported for some reason. So I'm scratching my head. What in the hell is going on? Okay, let's have a look. Monthly. Well, you all know what this is, isn't it? A nice big triangle, okay? Target. Have we hit a top is the question. Why is it consolidating there? Okay, first thing, there's a number of targets here. From here to there to its breakout point. That's its first target. Second target, from here to there to its breakout point. Wow, we're already there. Next target, from here to there to its breakout point. It's saying it technically should go higher. Will it go higher is another story, okay? But it says it should go higher. Now, that's the monthly. We really don't have anything else to say with the monthly. We just don't know. Let's go to the weekly, and that's all the data I have for it, unfortunately, on the monthly. But what have we got? Right now, we have a consolidation phase. Remember, this target, the top target, has already been hit. Okay, it's done deal, so to speak. Now, we can also see if there's any sandwiches here, valid sandwiches, from there right across. Let's have a look backwards. If there's any stronger sandwich taken back, can we go back in any way or form? No. No. Let me consolidate that. We want a solid sandwich, okay? In other words, if this hits to go down, this is going to anchor it, all right? If I leave it there, where is it going to anchor? This pushes down, this will push up, so to speak. It would have been nice if this would have went down here somehow, but it's not. The best one I can find is there. So that means this is support, that's resistance. So in other words, if when this pushed up, I couldn't use it there because this is push up, that will push down, there's no anchor. Right now, if this tries to hit this to the downside, it's locked in. That's how you lock in and call a sandwich. Now, we can see from that sandwich, we got support, 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 okay? Big strength. We got straight line on the top. This line, if you just forget about this back line just for a moment, if you pretend to start this line that way, in fact, let me just delete this line at the moment. It's irrelevant. Okay, so if we just draw a line from here across like that, and that line across the top, we have an ascending triangle. Now, it can break up or down, we don't particularly care, okay? But what we can say now is, even though the monthly says higher prices, doesn't mean it can't come down first before it goes up. All right, let's just keep that in perspective. So we don't know if it's going to go up, it's going to go down. We don't particularly care. We just want to be on the right side, whatever it does when it does it. So first time, from here to the top to an estimated break point, let's say call it here. If it breaks up, that's your 106, 107. Remember we said 105, 106 the next one. Based on the monthly, have a look again. Okay, there it is there. Oh, 105, sorry, 103, 105. Oh, is it a bit higher? Hold it. What is size? Yeah, no, it's on. Yeah, 105. So it's a bit lower. Now, however, let's just look at it again. That was from there to there. The shorter target is from here to there. Okay, there's your 105. So you do have a smaller target also. That was 103, 105. But if it breaks to the downside, from there to there, down to 90, 91, and also we'll do two targets. Like I said, we don't know, we don't care. All right, down to there. We don't know which way it's going to break, but we should make ourselves ready if you're willing to trade the US dollar index. That means if this baby starts to go up, strengthening, what's happening to the British pound, euro, and Aussie dollar and so forth? Well, if the US is strengthening, well, it means the rest are weakening. If the US dollar is weakening, well, the others are strengthening. So gives you an idea. And what we try to do is look at those to see, do they show some additional information that supports this theory? And that's how we're going to look at those, okay? Now, what else have we got? Remember, this is weekly stuff. Is this a flag? Now, if it is a flag, look, I'll do the target, then I'll remove it, all right? You can see also down to these levels. I'll remove the target now. Okay, so that tells us also to those levels. Now, let's have a look at the daily if there's any other information. Looking at the daily, I'm interested what the overall is and what's right on the right-hand edge of the screen. I don't know yet. I could do that. Nice to have another candle or so. Might give me a bit more information. I don't know yet. Okay, that might be a bearish flag. I don't know, as I said. In addition, there you go. Now, interesting. This is symmetrical triangle. You can target off the symmetrical triangle. If this breaks below, let's say breaks below all this, you can turn around and say from there to there to there, down to 91. If it breaks above, we can go from there to there. These are only estimates. Up to 103, 104. Remember, we had a target between 103 and 105. We've got targets in the low 90s. So either way, we've got supporting. Something is going to give. Now, what do we see? When we see an increase in the Aussie dollar, we see an increase generally on our share market, don't we? If we see a decrease on the Aussie dollar, we see almost a decrease on the share market. So, what is it telling us what's coming up? Something's going to give. Now, how long is it going to take? Is it going to take a week? Is it going to take a month? I'm not quite sure. But I'm certainly gearing up for it myself, personally, at the moment. So watch this space, as they say. So get ready for it. It'd be nice to get on the ride when it does occur. Remember, not personal advice, general investment advice. That's the DXY. Well, let's go straight to the British pound against the US dollar. Oh, excuse me. Just getting data at the moment. What have I done? Sorry. That was my mistake. GBP equals. Oh, what am I doing? Why is that? Or did I write it in the wrong spot? Sorry again, GBP equals. I put it in the wrong spot. Okay, monthly. I guess what we're looking at, what would cause, remember, so we don't know if it's going to, the US dollar is going to go up, or US dollar index up or down. So we're looking for evidence to support which way it might go, okay? Now, why do we get a rally of something? All right, well, usually a target gets hit or something like that. Now, what have we got here? Target being hit. Now, I took it pretty much extreme. If I took a conservative, in fact, I'll do the conservative target. Look, right from the body, right to the first touch, to its breaking point, and there's your target. All right, right there. So a major target of that pattern got hit. Now, that pattern can suggest lower values to come, by the way, the British pound, but that means it could be further down the track. We're talking daily targets at the moment, and this is a monthly chart. So this is saying we should get a rally, an ongoing rally on the British pound, means the US dollar index should weaken. Okay, so the monthly sort of suggesting that. Let's have a look now at the weekly. Okay, now, what do we got here? Now, the interesting thing is, this is very dangerous here. Clone. That's a bearish flag. And that, unfortunately, says, to the lowest body, I'll go conservative, telling us this should go even lower. Now, this is suggesting, at the moment, a lower price. How far can this go up before it's considered a failed flag? It really should come back around these levels. Let's have a look at the monthly again. That has hit the target. Yeah. So it can technically move much higher without saying this pattern has failed. Okay, just let's have a look at the weekly again. Trying to support if there's any resistance anywhere. No, can't use that. The weekly's not really giving much at all. How about cloning, actually? Just thought of that. Well, that's certainly, if you clone that certainly this target validates this target. If it runs back down to this and stops there, then we're saying, yep, I totally agree with it. So it's actually worth leaving that there. It doesn't give us any more than that. Let's go to daily. I'll just crush that up a little bit. Clone. And extend. Well, time will tell on that one. Again, we can't really add much more than that. From that, have it from here, but and just trying to find support somewhere. Okay, now, I think we're clutching at straws here. No, not clean. Trying to justify why it's there, and really we can't. It is what it is. Nothing you can do about it. All we can say, it's accelerated further to the downside. And that's basically it. And if we just extend it there, we can turn around and say, okay, if we clone this, and that's not even going to clone either. Not a clean clone, so I think what we're going to do is just leave it at that and let it show us some more data at this point. Let's have a look at the next one. EUR equals. EUR equals. EUR equals. I haven't looked at this one for a little while, I think. Okay, so major target being hit. There's nothing really we can add to this target being hit consolidation. No different to what the British pound's done. All we can do now on this is try to work out where it's going next. And we can add that. I think all we can really do is go more this way. Oops, wrong one. Sorry. Consolidation. $8.52 already. Yeah. Clone. And that's it. Can't really do much more than that. Now, we don't know if this is going to end up being a bearish flag or not, so we have to really watch it transpire. Looking at the daily. It really does belong there, doesn't it? I'm going to leave it there for now. It really is everywhere. It's the only really way you can draw it. It actually has broken through, and now it's resisting on that. Now if I clone that, it matches. So we've got a channel that this is broken out, and the thing is with a channel, you can go from there to the bottom of the channel to the breakout of the channel. It's telling us you should go lower. And we have to wait and see now, because obviously I'm not in this market, so we have to see, is this going to respect that, or is it going to make a bullish flag and go back up to this point here again? Interesting. Not very clean at this point. I would have thought it'd be cleaner than this, but it's not, because what you got to look at when you look at the weekly, it's saying lower, but look, you're on a brick wall right there off the weekly. So the weekly's got a break, and according to this is where the daily is. It's basically the line's really underneath on the weekly. So I don't think it's going to go anywhere when you compare that and you compare. Oops, I just removed the line by mistake. Oh, clone it back down again. So when you look at that and you look at that, you can see this is correct, and you probably understand why it's very hard for this to break below. And it's back above there, so it's really indecision. Having one hell of a hard time. AUD equals. Okay, now in my last webinar, I said I'm looking for the Aussie dollar probably up to 76 to 78. Now, I'll explain why and show you where I am. I'll go to the monthly first. Basically on the monthly, this is the major trend, uptrend. We can see it broke it, okay? It did what it did, and that's basically it. And the thing is, when we clone this line, this is where we found it. Now, we worked out roughly where it bottomed out. It's worked out rather well. And we can see why it stopped at this point at the, nearly 76 mark. 75.27 or whatever it is there. Okay, you can see why it stopped there. Now, the truth is, it's sort of a semi-respect, but let's be realistic here, okay? This line that I've got there, technically, it can even belong all the way here, okay? So it can go as high as 80, and it still be correct, okay? It still will be correct. It can probably even go even higher. It can go, let's have a look, grab it again. As long as I don't get rid of the bodies, it can probably even go there, all right? What that basically means is, if you look at the lines, let's just get it that right. Support, support, right on the bodies, when it gets cutting tails, resistance, that's even correct, okay? So I don't know where this line really, really belongs. We really don't, all right? When this was coming down, I was looking at this line, and I know, and I would have said in the past, if you look at an old webinar, I said, well, is it here? That's correct. Is it here? That's correct. Is it here? That's correct. One thing I had was this line here. I cloned it. They gave me this line. Originally, when we were looking at this line, we were saying, well, is it here? And that sort of slowed down. Then he went below us and, oh, is it here? And that's where we end up leaving it, because it has respected it. Now, in saying that, we're saying, were we making a bearish pennant on the monthly? Well, it's broken to the upside, which is great. That was my belief in the analysis. Now, going to the weekly. here we are, lines across, price target. There's your target, up to 78.79. Hence what I said, I'm probably looking around the under 78 to start off with. And because that is a sandwich, okay? But it's not a strong sandwich. Can you guess why? Well, if this price comes and hits this line on the upside, there's nothing to hold it down. So it can actually tilt. This can go down, that can go up. Not saying it will do that, but it's not a lock-in sandwich. It's just a sandwich. It's a weak sandwich, but still there. It's good for resistance. So the real downtrend, yes, this was an accelerated downtrend, but now we're back to the normal line. So technically, this can run all the way up to near the 82 mark. Now, if that does eventuate, what do you reckon the share market's going to do? That means if this is going up, unless this is an oddball and we go up and the euro and British pound go down, that means it will drag the US dollar index basically up. However, if the British pound and euro and Aussie dollar starts to rally, the US dollar index should fall. And I'm saying is as a guide, since we already started, it'll be between this line and that line. I'm hoping it'll be at the greater. Means anyone that's still in the stock market has got a chance to bail out at some reasonable price, especially some of the crap that's been happening to the banks and so forth. So we might get that further up move. Potentially, if this does occur, Combank should go to 82, maybe a touch higher, if it occurs. I'm not saying it will, but if it occurs. We trade what we see, not what we think. Now, as a flag, this is a bullish flag there. We hit our first target, hence why it's slowed down. Okay, so we hit the first target, but I'm still confident we're going to see those higher targets. Pretty confident with that. Okay, what can I say? I hope there was some decent value. I try to explain exactly what I'm doing, so hopefully it becomes an educational lesson. That's all I'm really hoping these webinars are, so you can do it yourself. In fact, I didn't actually do the daily, so you're able to do it yourself, not rely on anybody, and know how to use the tools the way I'm applying it, and hopefully take advantage and do something worthwhile. Now, if we clone that just to have a look at, and there you go. We're in that little channel at the same time, eh? So if it breaks up, if it breaks above this and then supports it, well, you can guarantee, I reckon, we'll be looking around the 79.80. Not personal advice. This is just speaking technically. I cannot stress that enough, okay? Just technical analysis, nothing else, okay? So as saying, I hope you got some good value out of it. I'll try to run them on a fortnightly basis. I've got a few things to do with this machine. I've got a new machine that I'm currently using on this, but for some strange reason, like I said, this software wouldn't load up unless I reinstalled it and load it up. I just don't know, so I'll have to make sure that doesn't happen again. And I didn't have Office, so I can display the disclaimer on there, and I will have that next time. I hope I said you got some decent value. Just when I get the next email out to you guys, just remember, just tell me which instruments you want me to analyze, and hopefully we will start on time. And just looking at something, a message, overseas 31 billion Aussies, MFG. Thank you very much, Bruno. So wish you all the very best, all success in the trading, and God bless and good evening. Thank you.